So it's been a couple of months, and I did originally plan on doing these once a month, these kind of Q&As, because they are rather fun, but your boy got a little lazy, not gonna lie, though. As much as I'd love to say I feel bad for the people who enjoyed the Q&As about not getting one for the past couple of months, I've worked hard the past 5 years. I think it's okay if I take a little breaks every once in a while. But yeah, I'm going to try to get one by the end of December as well, despite this one coming out just on the brink of a November ending. So hopefully we'll get back into the swing of things with once a month, because the questions have been pretty interesting and honestly a lot more varied than I was originally expecting. So as usual, if you want to be featured either in next month's Q&A or hopefully next month's Q&A or a future video, leave a question. If it's interesting enough, I'll include it in a video, but don't take it personally if they're not included. So let's get it started. The first one comes from my best mod. A question for the Q&A. Has there ever been an anime or show or book that gave you a view on life or lesson in life that you took from that and used in your life? And if so, basically, what was that show and what did it work for you? Honestly, I don't think there's been like a specific show or series like necessarily that like gave me a specific life lesson, but I will say, despite I think a lot of times you have like self-insert main characters that I think are there to serve a purpose to make people who don't think highly of themselves feel like they're going to get a harem of women. Those aren't really good life lessons, but there is, I think, if you take the good from a wide variety of just like really putting yourself out there and just trying, despite failing sometimes, you'll come out more often a winner than if you never take that risk or you never take that first step. Because, from relationships to just, wanting to make a YouTube channel, had I just stuck with how I was from high school and even my college days, I never would have gotten the relationship that I'm in. I never would have made this channel. So really, just characters making risky moves that, are frightening at first glance and then taking that step, even if you trip and fall. That's kind of like the main lessons I've took from, honestly, fiction, where sometimes you just look at people in your own life and they're so successful and you wonder, how are you going to get there? And then you see a story from a book or a show and you're like, well, even though they're fake, it kind of gives you that little bit of boost, I find anyway. So that's kind of where I lean on that question. So people want to ask a personal favorite anime or manga, so I'll change it up. What are anime or manga that you absolutely abhor? Also, have you read, I'm not even going to pronounce this, it's a manga about an elf learning about humanity in a new era of peace after she and her party defeat the demon lord. Basically, if Two-Year Attorney and Violet Evergarden had a baby. Honestly, that description kind of sold me, if I'm being completely honest. I mean, those are two of my personal favorites over quite a few different years, so I'll check it out at some point for sure. And in terms of like that question, probably Pupa. I mean, the anime is absolute trash, but I don't think the manga does much better. It's just like this cannibalistic sibling story that's just really, really gross and bad. I mean, seriously, I think the anime doesn't do the manga that much injustice. I think they're both equally bad, if I'm being completely and brutally honest. I hate them. I think they're trash. You won't hear me calling too many things trash on this channel, but I think Pupa, for me, that's how I feel. If you love it, power to you. But I don't like it. If you could review any Kamen Rider series, which one would it be? Honestly, Kamen Rider kind of is one of those franchises that I'm a little eerie to get started on, because the way my mind works is if I start something and I know there's multiple projects in like a universe, so like a Gundam as an example, my brain wants to consume them all, and if I don't consume them all, I feel it's like an OCD kind of twitch, like I feel incomplete. So despite, thinking I probably would get a kick out of Kamen Rider, I just really don't have that push because there's just so many there. Though if you do have like a specific one that you think I would enjoy, just standalone, good one and done, you can definitely let me know and maybe someday I'll check it out. Do you have a favorite voice actor or actress? I mean, seriously, it's kind of hard to say because honestly, I don't think I have a specific favorite, though there definitely are like moments that stand out to me. Characters like Eren Yeager and things like that, and they're just very distinct and I just don't think you could ever compare in another dub. But I think in general, anime voice acting is very, very good, where when you have like English dubs as an example, they pay so little that a lot of the high quality talent would rather go to games and, animated films and things like that, because anime dubs just don't pay as much, where in Japan, you get all these great voice actors who just nail it every single time. So honestly, if you come out of any anime episode and you think the voice acting's bad, I mean, there's clearly something wrong with that production, because really every character and every voice actor can kind of be a favorite in a season, I find. So while I was originally getting into anime, I definitely had my favorites. At this point, really no, but there's definitely key moments and key characters like Eren Yeager as an example. So we're doing 2 from my mod here. A question for the ages: pineapples on pizza or no pineapples on pizza? Interesting to me is like the things that become hot takes on the internet I find very interesting, especially for the simplest things. Like when I was growing up, like I knew as many people who ate pineapple on pizza who didn't. For me, I think it tastes good. I mean, Hawaiian pizza, I think, is a delicious pizza, but apparently, like, when you admit that to people, they, like, disown you, and I'm like, it's such an interesting thing that the internet, for as toxic as it is, sometimes the things that rile feathers are just comedy gold. Like, there's no way you could tell 10-year-old, like, you that pineapples on pizza would be, like, one of the hottest topics when the internet really goes booming, but here we are. I mean, if people don't like it, people don't like it, but I think it adds a nice sweetness to an overall, like, kind of meaty, or, like, you know, if you have onions and things like that, it just kind of complements it is how I find. But apparently that's like throwing apples on pizza to some people. Like, I don't know. That's who I am. I like pineapples. Shoot me. Why did you drop the intro? I missed it. So for those who don't know, I've actually had 2 intros. The first one really wasn't anything to write home about. The second one I did like quite a bit. And ultimately I just dropped it because it's a waste of time. I think when you're getting into YouTube, you notice so many channels, like they have formulas that you think you need to use yourself. And intros are something that, you know, just are there. Almost so many big channels, small channels, they use them. But ultimately, like, they just waste time. Like, when people click on an episode review of Ranking of Kings, they don't want a 10-second intro. They don't want a 3-second intro. They want to see who the hell is this person talking about it, and are they worth my time? And if you add in that extra padding, they're going to say, oh, this person's just dragging out the video. But you kick off the episode immediately getting into the meat and substance, not talking about bullshit. People like you a lot more, I find, and honestly, my subscription rate went up pretty much as soon as I dropped I've always had steady subs, like, from the beginning, which I'm grateful for, but it got a lot better as soon as I dropped that intro, so seriously, just wasted time, don't need it, but I'm glad you liked it when they were around. I do appreciate that. I've actually never had anyone compliment that. Now, this is actually my favorite kind of question. It's a chain, and I wanted to include the entire chain because it started off with, is it okay to like bad anime, to which I said, I'm going to be using this, but there's no such thing unless you think so. Enjoyment towards anime is subjective and not an objective truth to our world. I think there is some objective to some extent. For example, if someone were to say, and this is just an extreme example, I think X-Arm is great and better animated than Demon Slayer, would that still be subjective? I don't think so. And I said yes for the same reason, as a dot on a canvas can be art to people, as it's all opinions, even if it's not popular. Now, this is probably going to be the hottest take, I guess, of the video, because people really do like to say there is objectivity to, like, what's good and bad, and unless there is an extremely mass agreement, it's very hard for you to come out with that. I remember when I took art class all throughout high school, mainly for the art history portion, as I love studying it, and there was a moment with my art teacher where topic was, what is art, essentially, and there, you know, we're shown a bunch of different pieces in a museum, and in the middle of all these great sculptures and paintings, there was a person who basically, like, flipped a urinal, made that their sculpture. Like, they didn't do anything to it, they just said, this is art, and it got put in the museum. It was a pretty hot topic in the class, but basically we came out for the most part saying, like, what is art is always going to be different for people. Even if we think it's trash, even if we think it's lazy, ultimately art is art, and there is no such thing as bad unless even the creator themselves doesn't like it and no one appreciates it. So while I think X-Arm is abysmal, it's trash, I think it's horrible, I mean, if someone just so happens, unironically, to like that animation and that story more than a Demon Slayer, I mean, it's not my place to say they're wrong. I can question it, and hopefully they can give me some interesting reasons behind their thought process. But I mean, at the same time, I don't expect to have to justify why I like shows either. I mean, if I just want to, you know, enjoy a show that people don't like, I mean, I should be able to say I like it without having to give you an essay on why. It's a little different when I make a video. I try to express my opinions, but I mean, it's opinions. It really, really is. It's not like math. It's not like something that's been universally accepted. As trash as some things I think and many people think, it is all art, and art I really don't think should ever be labeled objective, as it takes away from its value, and all types of shapes make up the world that we live in. Favorite genre of music? Any specific artists/groups? I actually appreciate these types of questions because I think they're a little more personal. I mean, I'm a big rock guy. I love metal and rock. I really don't listen to anything outside of those, you know, groups. I mean, there's subgroups and subgenres of those, but I mean, I love, like, punk rock bands like Rise Against against Billy Talent. I love rock, Foo Fighters. I mean, you have like more of the thrash metal and stuff like with Metallica, Slipknot. I mean, pretty wide variety of guy from hard screams to just soft rock, but ultimately it's like in that bubble. And I mean, anything like that with a good riff and isn't just there for marketing purposes, I really, really enjoy. But that's all the questions for this time. Like I said, leave a question if you have any. Either I'll answer it in the comments or maybe I'll answer it in the comments as well as in the video. Leave a like though if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here, and I'll catch you next time with hopefully one near the end of December, early January is when we'll probably do the next one. So, see ya.